Okay, guys, I am back, and there has been a couple of questions about covers and how I do covers. And like we'll get back to putting closures and decor and all that jazz in our journal, but I wanted to make sure that you guys knew how I made these in case you've never seen it before, or maybe like a different technique or whatever. But I needed to pick up something because I have what you didn't see last week is this is one of the kits that I had printed that I didn't end up using because I didn't really have a blue that matched. So I went shopping at Walmart yesterday and just bought a fat quarter. So this is really like from beginning to end how I made those covers we've been working with. Always remember, save these because those make really good tags or whatever. All right, so our journal is 9 inches tall by 12 inches. Okay, so this is one of those mailer envelopes. I like white for most of mine unless they're going to be completely covered both sides. Nothing is ever going to show, that sort of thing. Like, let me pull this one here. So because like this one, you can still kind of see it, right? I've used ink in there. I don't know if the camera will pick that up. You can still kind of see that, and then the scrapbook paper that we used. Okay, so I like white. If you don't mind, then use whatever color that is right for you. And I usually bulk order mine off of Amazon, so I'm gonna make a little slit and I'm gonna cut in there. Okay, so I make sure I have a pretty straight ragged edge before I start. Okay, then I'm going to try to remember to do all of this get it all in frame. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside for a minute, and I'm going to use this as my measuring, and I'm going to go to about, let's see, I'm sorry, I have to move it down so I can see, but I'll tell you the measurement. I go about 9.5 ballpark, okay? Because then by the time you trim and tear, it's about the right size, okay? And I just rip that, okay? So then I have a piece of fabric like this, and I think normally I would like let it set out to where the folds aren't there, but we'll work the glue to where there won't be any lines or fold marks and stuff in there. Okay, so then let's see, I then take one side and I take and do the same thing so that I got a pretty square piece of fabric, right? As square as you can make it with they don't make things like they used to. So all the machining and stuff doesn't always make it square. Okay, so then I take it and measure about 12.5 as well. Give or take a little bit, depending on your fabric and whatnot. Okay. I'm going to nip there, and then I'm also going to tear this one. Okay. And then I have a stack, because we could also make some fabric flips out of these pieces here. Okay. So we've got roughly our piece here, and as you can see, like machining and stuff, it's off just a little. That's all right. So we're just going to kind of try to square it out as much as possible, right? Okay, then what I do is I take this and I just shut it down or close the envelope thing. I'm going to take my ink, and I'm not going to worry too much about, how much ink is there. I'm just going to ink the edges in case they start showing through, okay? I'm going to do both sides. The reason I add the envelope is it just gives like the added stability that the covers need. But it also keeps it soft enough to where when the journal starts expanding, when you start putting more journal cards or pockets or whatever the case may be, whatever you're putting in there, charms, any flowers, bulkies, whatever it is that you're doing, it gives it expendability, but yet stability, if that makes any sense. Okay, and then after I've got that kind of inked around, make sure all of my ink stuff is off. Okay, then I take a glue stick. Let me grab it. Oh, it's right there. Okay. And I'm going to just go around the edges, kind of like this, and a little bit through the middle, not like overly, right? Like we don't need it to like adhere specifically. We're using this as a tack. Okay. So then I'm going to take this and center it as best that I can. And that's another reason why I like using the glue stick, is that I can kind of maneuver in any direction I need to go with it, right? So once you're fairly certain you got it most of the way, then I always take it and I can kind of pull it up, get the wrinkles out. Okay, and before that kind of really tacks down, like I said, I kind of smooth out any wrinkles. And then I double check a little bit here, right? I want to pull it to where there's not quite so much on this side. So I'm fairly good. Remember everything, because our fabrics nowadays just aren't as straight. You're not going to have it to perfection, but that's also why they call it junk journaling, right? So we got it pretty well tacked down, right? Okay. Now I have a piece of 9 inches by 12 inches of cardstock, and we can use either side, right? I'm going to go ahead and use this one because it's got more of the blues and a little bit of the greens, and I think it matches pretty well. And it's got just a little bit of pinks that come through to kind of match through that, okay? Now I take, I do use tacky glue on this one, the Fabri-Tac. And I put it not quite to the edge. Okay, and actually I should have inked this really quick before. I'm just going around the very edges. I'm not bringing my ink down, just to kind of help blend out some of the white edges from cutting it. Okay. Okay, like so. And then I'm going to line it up as best as I can through here. Would you guys be interested in like cover series like this? Because I don't mind. When I do start to finishes, I usually try to cover the covers, but sometimes I don't. Okay, and I'm going to take my bone folder. I'm going to really smooth out if there's any glue, okay? Bring it to the edges so that we don't have any bubbling later. Like so. Okay. So that pretty much makes our cover. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, let this dry for just a few minutes. And then what's important is if you're going to sew this, like you could be done now. If you don't have a sewing machine, the only difference is that you would do is you would take your glue all the way to the edges so that there's not any like pull away from it, okay? And then obviously you would probably do a different kind of glue here. Like I said, all I wanted it to do was just tack it down. I didn't want it to be like a permanent thing. Just enough to stick so that I could get the other stuff on, okay? Okay, so like I said, I'm going to let this dry for a minute, and then I'll come back after it's sewed, because I'm going to, oh, that was what I was going to point out. If you're going to sew your cover, it's been my experience, if you sew on this side, so put this in your machine and stitch right along this edge right here. If you try to do it this side up, there's a good chance you're going to miss your paper. Okay. So yeah, that's what I do. So I'm going to take this and go sew in the, around here, and then I'll come back and then we'll put in the eyelets. We'll like crease it, and sometimes it does buckle. But I don't like creasing it before I sew it, because then it shifts and it doesn't line up as well. That is why I use, well, one of the reasons I use this to reinforce the spine. So not only do we reinforce the spine, but also if there's any buckling, we can bring it in, and then it's all covered by this piece here. Okay. All right. So I'll be back in just a few minutes. Okay, guys, I am back from the sewing machine, and so I'm going to clip my strings really quick here. Okay. So front or cover, inside. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that it's not this, that the fabric that I'm lining it up with, I'm lining it up with the inside pieces. Okay. Like I said, sometimes it'll buckle. It kind of almost, I think, depends on your paper, like what kind you're using. So I kind of match that, and I match that corner up. I hold here. I'm hoping that I'm in camera. Let's make sure. Okay, and then I'm just going to lightly start creasing it down, okay, to fold. And I kind of, when it's like through the cover, you can kind of feel where your paper is buckling. So I always kind of pull it to kind of try to help ease it in. Okay, so when I open it, you can tell a little bit through here, not much, but again, that's why I should say, always reinforce too, right? So we saw that, you saw this the other day where I take this and do the fabric in here, and we'll go ahead and just put this entire one together. Okay, we'll put eyelets and everything in there, and then we'll get it bound really quick, because I still have all the extra papers and all that in there. So just set that in there, smooth it down. Again, you guys saw this the other day, so not anything, well, you saw a lot of it the last few days, didn't you? Okay. Okay, so then I'm going to grab my eyelets really quick and a ruler. And my tool. Okay, so since we know it's about 9.5, give or take, I usually line it up with the paper for 9 inches, so it's usually about 4.5 is the middle. So then I just take my pen, mark out the 0 spot, and you want to make sure that you are missing your sewing right here. Okay. Okay. And I had a question a couple of weeks ago about how do I line up exactly with this tool. And I'll show you. I usually eyeball. However, there is a little piece here that you can use to kind of move, and that will help you line up your holes as far as getting it in there to your spot that you're going for. So, and then I just pop that in there. I always go fabric on the bottom, like when I'm like I don't go this direction with it. I want the fabric to poke in to the paper versus the other way around, and I'll show you why in a minute. So again, I'm just gonna get it in there and do that, and see this fabric came out, but I want the phrase to go to the inside of the cover. And then if you have some long ones, just trim them off. But let's see, what are we gonna do here? Wondering if brass, or maybe, because I think I'm putting creams and stuff on the cover, like cream laces. So I was wondering which, like, would the gold look better? I think the gold will look better. Okay, so you put that in there and see if all your fabric's already going in that direction. Then you don't have to worry about fuzzy stuff on the outside, okay? I'm gonna put my tool in there, crimp it down. Okay, same with this side. Put the eyelet in this direction. Okay. Okay, like so. Okay, so that's pretty much done. And like, I'm not going to worry about this because I'm going to put, like I said, laces and stuff on that. Okay. Okay, so let's set that aside for a second and we'll get our papers ready like we did the other journals. So a little bit of repetition, but you know, that's what we do when we learn, right? The more times we do it, the better. Maybe the more times we see it, the better too, maybe. Okay, so it's cardstock. 2 of these. 2 of these. And I was hoping for lighter ones, but I don't think I have any more lighter ones. So 3, 4, 5. Okay. I'll have to double check to see how many papers are in this kit. Or that I have, I should say. I don't remember if it was 10 or not. Oh, great. I got fuzzies everywhere. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. So we'll forgo one of those. And we'll keep the extra graphic paper, okay? All right. And I'll have to sneak over and grab my binding stuff again. Isn't it interesting, like when you start dyeing papers, like the different designs that you can get? Here it's kind of a bright, shiny day. It's supposed to be in the 70s, which I'm not gonna lie, that feels pretty good. I might have to go outside and soak up some vitamin D after I film a couple of these videos. Okay. I think I want this one to the inside. Outside. Inside. Outside. Inside. Nope. I being so light, I would have never even caught that. Oh, and that one too. Two, 4, 5. Okay, and I think I'll leave this one on to the front again, designed to the front. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and really quick double check that I have all the white edges off the papers. Okay, looks pretty good. All right, so we have that for the inside there. Let's see. How about that one? Yep, I kind of like that one. Okay. Oh, you know what? I was supposed to have 3 of the avocado. Okay. No worries. We'll double count it all before we put it in. I suppose I probably ought to check to make sure they're all going upright too. Okay. Let's just see what we got, if we need that one or not. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put one of these in instead and leave that other 11th piece out because it's kind of messing with my head to do the other one. So we'll find a nice little place to tuck this one in. let me grab, we'll get this set and let me grab my other little binding stuff really quick, okay? Okay. Oh, that's because it's already out. Oh my goodness. Oh, you know. All right, but the awl is not out anymore, is it? There it is. Okay. And the bonus for doing your eyelets before you sew your stuff in is you can kind of eyeball the middle, because you already know that's kind of the middle. So you can kind of just eyeball it that way. And then I usually go about an inch from the top and an inch from the bottom, and that usually works out just about right. And then I know a lot of people do, they cut their strings. I don't do that anymore, so that I don't have a bunch of excess that I lose. So I just leave it on my spool or spindle or whatever it is that I'm taking it off of, and then I cut it at the end. Either is fine. Either works great. It's up to your preference, but I found that I was wasting a lot, and I had a lot of like excess strings I didn't really know what to do with. You know, they weren't really long enough to bind anything, but yeah, so that's why I do it the way I do it. But again, you don't have to do that either, okay? Okay, then I tie it off. Like so, and we trim it off, and we have a quick, cute little journal to use. Like so. Like I said, I'm going to decorate with some laces, so I'm not worried about these little wrinkles here, okay? And then at that point, we just choose what we're going to use as closures. If we're going to use some fabric or whatever we're going to use. Okay, see? Perfect. And now it's ready to decorate. All right. All right, guys, I will see you in the next one. That is where we're going to start. Well, I guess I could show you really quick. These are kind of, I have more ephemera, but this is kind of the start of it. All kinds of pockets and journal cards and tags and all that kind of stuff. So in the next video, we're going to kind of sort and go through things and decide which pockets go where. And then from there, then we'll make like a bunch of clusters and whatnot. So, all right, guys, I hope you are having a stellar day, and we will just talk to you soon. Bye.